When we spoke on the phone, you mentioned that you are basically see yourself as being a kind of connector of
Yes.
people, right? How did you connect with CAP initially?
Good. Some time back, Armida Fernandez, one of the co-founders of Sneha,
Yes.
told me to contact Noshir because we had a question on some legal issue. And
Right.
that's the first time I reached out to him.
Okay.
And then we had a nice conversation, and we sort of stay in touch. Occasionally we get together for a lunch or just to catch up. And, uh, and it's just sort of, to me, fascinating that someone's sort of dedicated his whole life to do something like this,
Right.
and the wealth of knowledge that's over there. And then his name comes up quite often in different conversations, where people say, I need some help, and I say, listen, you go talk to Cap.
Right. So was it you mentioned there was a specific problem or
Yes,
specific issue that you
correct.
had. You want to talk about that?
I don't remember what it is.
So
But it obviously got fixed because it doesn't seem to be top of the mind now. So
exactly,
that's
it
right.
was.
Yeah.
So what would you say is there now? CAP has been doing this work for 30 years. Now there are several organizations doing similar kind of
Sure.
work,
Yeah.
right? Would you say is their USP still?
I think it's the fact that there's clarity of thought on what can or cannot be done. Secondly, it's focused on a certain aspect of the philanthropy space, which is compliance, legal, etc. In fact, a couple of the organizations I've been involved with have actually looked at doing partnerships or joint ventures with CAP. And I think that's really the way to go forward. Instead of everyone trying to create their own identities and work in silos, if people started working more closely with each other, and leveraging of each one's skill sets, I think we can have better products, interlinking themselves. So yeah,
Cross-disciplinary.
so for example, suppose there's somebody who's great in fundraising,
Right.
and there's and CAP sort of is good in in whatever it does. Are there ways to sort of work together and come up with solutions for clients in a more
Rather
effective
than
manner,
replicating
rather than
what someone's
replicating?
already
Exactly.
doing. So you would say CAP's thing is compliance.
I would say that's how I would sort of see it in a large way, because
This is because they've been doing it for a
they've been
longest
doing,
time
yes.
and they're looking at it in
And they have a historical perspective. Today, the fact what's missing in many cases is people don't have a historical perspective on what laws were like 25 years back or why a particular law came about. That's what it has.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what CAP comes up with. So it's why was there a law like this? If you're going to look at something like this, and Nosha will say, but in 19 sort of 98, this is what
that kind
what
of
happened.
collective
That's right.
consciousness, right?
True.
To recall that and then kind of make it relevant to today.
Absolutely.
In that sense,
And I think that's very important here. That because otherwise it's people only look at what's happened in the last 2-3 years and think that CSR is the latest thing. But the fact is that there's been this history of sort of regulation.
going back
Yes,
150 years,
that's right.
like
Yeah.
Jamshedpur and
That's
the Tatas
that's
and
exactly.
Birlas and then all of
That's
them,
right. Absolutely.
which people tend to forget.
Absolutely.
And CAP, being in this space, continuing to be in that space is a reminder of that.
Yes.
Noshir's knowledge.
And in fact, you know, when there was a conference or a workshop which CAPS had some time back, and I decided let me go attend it. And it was a half-day workshop on some of the legal aspects and compliance issues. And I said I wanted to attend it because I've only had bits and pieces of instruction
The
given.
one in March?
The one in March, yeah.
That's right.
And I found it fascinating.
Yeah.
And even though I've been in the sector for 6 years, I still found it fascinating, and I learned stuff because at least there's a clarity of thought about how to look at things.
And today's conference? Your
Well, I
thoughts?
haven't sat in for. I've only come in, so I started.
What
What's
hoping you're one of the facilitators.
no, but see,
right?
but what I'm fascinated with is the fact that you could get a room of people so large. In fact, one of my regrets is that I can't attend the whole day because I've got some other stuff, and today's the only day I'm in Bombay this week. But I think it's just a fascinating range of topics, and because you've got people from different organizations, different sizes, and different levels of age and experience, the sharing of experiences also is something which is important for other organizations to know. So if there is more of these sessions where NGOs get together and learn from each other, learn from experiences, hear stories, I think it's fantastic. Because otherwise, it becomes just instead of just having a book which sort of says everything in it, you get a chance to interact and discuss some of these,
Right.
and the different formats being used
Do you think
today.
a conference like this is as important or maybe should be as regular as
I think it has to be.
workshops?
No. I think the problem is that it's not. We don't do more of these. That's how I see it. A lot.
Conferences. Do you think workshops are important, but conferences also?
Well, both. Absolutely. Because look at, I see the number of people chatting with each other, which otherwise they would not have talked to each other before. And I think that's important. This network, and then
This
you know,
connecting that you speak of.
yes,
speak
absolutely.
about, right?
It's all about that. So, for example, some time back I thought, should I become an expert on a particular sector in the non-profit space? And then I said, why? There will always be somebody who knows it more. What are my core skills? Connecting dots. Let me just focus on that. If there's someone else whose core skill is understanding the education space better, then why should I try to
Again,
do
it's
that?
a-
I can
no,
go
but
back
not,
to them.
Not replicating.
Yes, exactly. I can go to that person for any help I need. Or if there's someone like Nosher over here who can knows the sort of legal aspect. Why do I need to recreate it myself? If I have a problem, I'll go to him.
So
That's
the
really it.
conference like this helps to
Absolutely.
facilitate that.
Yes,
is what you're saying.
yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.